Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Stellium Astrology podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie James. I am the founder of StelliumAstrology.com. I'm a tutor at the London School of Astrology. I used to write horoscopes for Elle magazine. And today I am doing a follow-up of the previous episode on auric hygiene. Something that I think anybody doing any kind of work that involves connecting with people on an energetic level, through whichever medium that may be. To be perfectly honest, I don't even think it needs to be that. I think anybody who is literally working with other people needs to practice this stuff, because whether you are a believer or not, we are all mingling in an energetic sense, no matter what we do, where we go, or who we hang with. One of the things that's really weird, about me, there's so many weird things about me, but one of the things that I do think, I really didn't know what it was until I started to tune into this aspect of myself, was walking through train stations. I remember walking, I think I was at, is it Bank? Oh gosh, I don't know if it was Bank. It's one of those train stations that goes everywhere. I think it's Bank on Oxford Circus. Something like that anyway. It must have been Oxford Circus. That must have been where I was. Anyway, in London. And I remember walking through the station, just in the main bit where you go in and you put your ticket through the machine and then you go over the side where you're ready to travel. And I remember walking past this space in the train station where I was just literally walking across to the escalators, and I just was overwhelmed with sadness to the point that I thought I was going to cry. I was just like, I just feel this deep, deep sadness. I just can't describe it. And I suddenly realised, I looked around and I suddenly realised I'd walked past somebody who was really crying. And I didn't see them before. And it wasn't like I saw them and then I thought, oh, I feel sorry for that person. Because if I'd have seen them, I would have just felt that and realised I was feeling for them. What I was actually doing was I was actually feeling them without even seeing them. And that's the kind of thing that I'm sort of referring to when I talk about this energetic thing. Not everybody is as sensitive to it as I am, perhaps, but the fact is we are still picking up other people's stuff. I would have seen that years ago and probably wanted to rush over and give that person a hug and try and make them feel better. By the way, I'm back in my studio today, which happens to be my kind of living room area, and I have the washing machine is on, so I do apologise if that's getting on your nerves, and you might hear cars moving around outside. But anyway, my point is, what I was saying was that, we do pick up on this stuff, and, this is why some people believe, just promiscuity and that sort of thing is also it goes far deeper than we realise, because when you're mixing with people physically and allowing them into you, whether that's emotionally or physically, you are opening yourself up to whatever they carry with them. So even if somebody's got a clean bill of health as far as STDs and that kind of thing is concerned, I think the theory is that if you sleep with one person, you literally sleep with all of their sexual partners. And though that sounds kind of gross and disgusting, it is energetically something that I kind of subscribe to. I do kind of think that there is an element of truth to that. And it always makes me think twice. I am the type of person who does kind of think, like when it comes to that sort of thing, I am very, I don't want to say picky, but I think that there's an element of control is quite attractive in a partner, somebody who doesn't feel the need to just go wherever there's an open door, so to speak. So anyway, without digressing too much, my point is that anybody we come into contact with, if we're just holding their hand, if we're kissing them, if we're just sitting next to them on the tube or the train or the bus, or if we're not even sitting next to them, if we're a few seats away, we've all got that electromagnetic field, and we are all carrying with us highs and lows, areas of our being that are wounded that we're not even aware of. Stuff that you can go and have therapy, you can go and have treatments like Reiki, and you can do some personal work and you can help yourself. But one of the biggest ways to help yourself on a daily basis is to practice auric hygiene. And myself personally, I've found one of the best things you can do for yourself on a daily basis is to ground and protect, or as I would call it, I think my Reiki master would call it ground, protect, connect, and or ground, connect, protect, whichever way you want to do it. And I will go through that. Kind of sequence that we used to go through. But before we do, I just wanted to say a very, very sad goodbye to somebody who wasn't a big part of my life in a social or, in my social group, but somebody who kind of, somebody passed away this week who is very sad. My old tarot teacher, Merlyn Farebrother, and some of you may know her name. She's written a number of books. Let me see if I can just get her books up while I'm here at my desk. Let's see. So some of her books are, she was published by Penguin. She's got Astrology Forecasting, The Expert Guide to Astrological Prediction, and Astrology Decoded as well. Another sort of step-by-step, this one's a step-by-step guide to learning astrology. Now, Sue is an astrologer, and I think she studied the Masters, the MA course at the Trinity St David University, which was astrology and astronomy. What was it? I can't remember the name of the course now. Astrology and astronomy. I have to look it up, as you know. Astrology and astronomy MA course. Cultural astronomy and astrology. So she did an MA, and I think that her dissertation was on tarot, though the actual title of her dissertation I don't know. I learnt tarot with Sue initially at the London School of Astrology. I learnt beginners tarot with her there, and I remember first going to a tarot class and kind of mind blown, because I was like, I didn't realise there was so much to this. As with everything to do with this sort of stuff, you just kind of think it's a bunch of cards in a deck. You don't really think much more. And on top of that, I also studied with Sue in a bookshop in London called Treadwell's Bookshop. And Treadwell's is an esoteric bookshop, kind of near Bloomsbury. I don't actually know quite what the location is. It's if you got the tube to, I think it's quite close to Goodge Street. I think you've got Tottenham Court Road and Goodge Street as well. Those two stations on that very long road that go from like Oxford Circus pretty much up to Euston. And basically I used to get the train every week into London, and I'd go to Treadwell's Bookshop, and I studied. In fact, actually, I studied not only tarot with Sue, I studied planetary magic with her as well. And I studied, and that was at Treadwell's, and at the LSA I studied tarot too. So I did quite a lot of like esoteric studying with Sue. She was one of my mentors, I guess you could say. And she passed away this week, and it's really sad. I think it's shaken the whole community as far as astrologers and tarot readers that I have met and mingled with at many a conference. Everybody's giving their kind of their tributes to Sue, and I'm not really one for putting a public tribute up on Facebook or anything. I've commented on some people's. What I will say is that a friend of mine, I messaged her to tell her that Sue had passed away, and that day she'd picked up Sue's book, the forecasting book, to read on her lunch break. And I said, when she sent me the video to say, like, she literally filmed it and said, I've got this book today, and sent it to me in a WhatsApp message. because me and my friends are very audio visual, so it's like videos and voice notes rather than sitting there tapping out texts. And it was just very eerie, because she'd sent that to me and I'd just found out that morning that Sue had passed away. So I sent her a message just saying, I really, really am sorry to have to share it with you like this, but Sue has passed. And she said, you know what, I feel like Sue is encouraging me to hang on to doing the things that I love, because I'm doing a job that doesn't really inspire me, and I feel like I needed that nudge. And, you know, the fact that Sue's gone is very sad, but she's definitely here still. I can feel her. And I was like, do you know what? I know exactly what you mean. Another strange, but not so strange coincidence was I logged into my Skype for the first time that day. It was the first time I'd logged into Skype for years, at my desktop. And as I logged in, I scrolled down my contacts list and Sue's name just jumped out at me. And it was just such a weird thing, because I was like, oh gosh, I haven't been on here for years and there's Sue's name right in front of me. And somebody else put on Facebook that when they found out about her passing literally moments before, like he's got a telescope, he's really into astronomy. He said he saw a little fireball in the sky that just sort of like shot across the sky, and then he found out about Sue and he was just like, wow. You know, I just think there's some kind of something beyond sometimes that speaks to us when we lose somebody. But you know, there's lots of sadness, and I guess I'm going through a kind of Plutonian process myself, because Pluto is coming up to make its square with my natal Pluto. And I've been living, as one of my friends says, I've been living under my Pluto for a very long time, or I've been living under Pluto. He's my, I guess you call it the leading planet in my chart, which I'll have to do a show on that, I guess. But it means that Pluto is the planet that is the one in front of all the others. And then as the chart is the momentary snapshot of the moment you were born, then it starts ticking. And all of the transits happen in the kind of the reverse. Don't know if I've articulated that well, but I will have to show that in a video at some point, an enhanced podcast. But so yeah, my Pluto transit, I had Pluto to my Saturn, and then I had Pluto to my Moon, and then I had Pluto to my Jupiter, and then I had Pluto to my Uranus, and then I had Pluto to my Descendant, then I had Pluto to my Node, and then I had it, if you want to go there, I had it to my Ceres, and then to my Sun, and now I've got Pluto going to be going all over my Aquarius stellium as of March next year. So I've been living under my Pluto for a long time, but Pluto is having his major Pluto square Pluto in my chart. And currently, as part of this process, I am experiencing, I guess, the period in my life where I start to recognise a loss on a grander scale than I perhaps once did, losing a lot of family members and friends. So it's a sad time, but, you know, in equal measure, I'm seeing people conceiving, you know, and celebrating new life through starting families together, and starting to understand the true beauty of life and transformation through the choices that people have been making, including myself. So as sad as it is to lose people, I know it's very much a part of life, and it's part of the huge cycle. And you know, there is nothing to say that makes anything better when you lose somebody that you care about, or somebody that you admired, or somebody that you really loved. But, you know, it's something that we are all part of. It's huge. And I guess that takes me in a bit of a full circle back. You know, we're all connected. Everything's connected. It's almost like the Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail. We are in one big cycle, this big circular cycle. Life, you know, birth, life, and then death, and that kind of sense of whether or not you're into reincarnation or not. You know, there is this, you know, our bodies, if you are one to go back into the ground and feed the foliage and fertilise the soil ready for new life through foliage again and plants, or even if you're cremated and you scatter the ash, there's something really good for the ground in ash. It's very, very full of, you know, positive, good stuff. Not that I'm a botanist or anybody that understands that kind of stuff, but, you know, it's all good. So, you know, there's no waste when it comes to that kind of thing. But, you know, while we're alive and we're mingling with other people and we are picking up on other people's stuff, it's worth making sure we are protected from anything that may cause us to be ill in an energetic sense or out of balance. So I'm hoping that the background noise isn't going to be too aggressive. So we can get on to talking about the grounding, connecting and protecting, or grounding, protecting and connecting, whichever way you want to go about it. Now, there are many ways to ground yourself. Some of the easier ways of doing it is to go somewhere grassy and connect with the earth directly, taking your socks off and going for a walk on grass. Another way to do it is to stamp your feet and, just really bring the attention back to the soles of your feet and to that connection to earth. Because anybody with strong air in the chart may be swept away with their thoughts. Somebody with strong water may be emotionally carried away. Somebody with fire may just be completely and utterly in a land of inspiration and, just not able to feel the physical connection to our home planet, which, even if you're a total airhead, literally airy Mercury, like myself, people might feel like it's a bit boring to be grounded to earth. But actually, there's something really amazing about the fact that we are on a rock spinning around the sun, and our sun is in an arm of the galaxy moving around galactic central point. There's something seriously incredible, and we can forget about that on a daily basis when we think, oh, I'm so sick of life, I'm so sick of my mundane life, I'm so sick of my job, I'm so sick of everything, it just, sometimes I have to remind myself to watch that thing, Journey to the Edge of the Universe, which I'll hopefully remember to tag at the bottom of this episode. But it's one of those things where we can get so bogged down with the distractions around us that we forget about how wonderfully amazing it is that we are actually here, and the fact that the daylight is brought to us by that fireball in the sky. And that beautiful moon that we see is literally orbiting us. Planetary bodies, full sight, full view, day or night. Take your pick, the stars and the moon or the sun in the sky. Just literally incredible stuff. But through distraction, through airy distractions, through emotional moods that take us off down these little eddies, these little streams, that completely take us away from our actual body. We have to remember that we are just as physical as the earth around us. And putting our feet on the ground and just focusing on the breath for a moment and just taking breaths in and out and just feeling the cold air as it moves into our nostrils, and then the warm air as it passes back out our mouth, and slowing down the breathing just so that you are focusing on the air that's literally passing into your system and oxidizing your bloodstream in order to keep you healthy and well and calm is so important. And then moving down through from your head to your shoulders, remembering that if you have got your tongue on the roof of your mouth, if you are tensing or clenching your jaw in any way, to just relax, including your forehead and your eyebrows, bringing your face down so that every muscle is relaxed, and also that your neck is relaxed too. Remembering also to keep breathing in and out and focusing back on that breath. Anytime your mind tends to wander, just bring it back. You can do this with your eyes open while you're driving. You can do this while you're doing anything really. It is advisable to take a seat and just take a break for a moment while we do this. But just bringing it back in and then relaxing your shoulders. It doesn't matter if you can hear background noise either on this recording or wherever you are. The background noise is irrelevant. It's always going to be there. Keeping that breath in and out. Remember the coolness of it going into your nostrils and the warmth of it coming out of your mouth. The rise and fall of your chest and the rise and fall of your stomach as well. And if you're anything like me, sometimes you need a reminder to just relax your hands, let your hands rest. Maybe put the backs of your hands on your knees and have your palms facing upwards. Let your fingers naturally curl. Take a deep breath in and out again. I carry a lot of a lot of tension, I should say, in my butt cheeks. So if you're a butt cheek tension kind of person, allow that to just rest. Thighs and calves also carry a lot of tension. The lower part of our bodies generally do tend to be quite neglected. Now make sure your feet are firmly on the ground. You can be wearing shoes and socks. You don't have to. This is your choice. You can do this wherever you want to. But make sure you have your feet, both of them, she says as she puts both of her feet on the floor, on the ground. Now while you're sitting here in this rather relaxed position, and if you do find it hard to keep sitting upright, you can lean back. In fact, you can lay down to do this, but keep your knees bent and keep your feet on the ground. Just imagine you have roots like a tree coming from your feet and literally embedding itself into the ground below you. And as this happens, roots from the ground are growing up within those roots and into your feet and up through your legs. And those roots are going really, really deep into the ground, and the deeper they go into the ground, the farther up they climb into you. As they reach just below your hip level, imagine a light turning on in the centre, just between your legs, a bright red light. And this is your root chakra being activated. And then as it moves up again, your sacral chakra also lighting up. And then the next chakra as the leaves, and not forgetting to breathe now. Every time you breathe in, the roots climb higher. So we have the next chakra, your solar plexus, lighting up. And as you breathe out, this is just breathing out any of the toxicity, any of the negativity, any of the stuff that you don't need to carry with you. You're just breathing it out. Taking another deep breath in. That root that is in the form of a light is moving up a bit farther. Suddenly you find it at your heart chakra, just at the centre of your chest. This beautiful bright green light breathing in. It's almost as though you can breathe in the oxygen from the plants around you. And if you haven't got plants around you physically, now in your imagination, you're in the middle of a field or a jungle, wherever you want to be, surrounded by greenery. Deep, deep, deep breath again. Breathing out and allowing release of anything that you were holding on to that was causing you emotional pain, anything that was holding you back. Now we're breathing in again, and we have the throat chakra. And the throat chakra, we are carrying this beautiful blue light. And this blue light is our communication channel. Anything that you've struggled to say, anything that you've struggled to keep secret is probably being held here. So taking a deep breath and allowing that root to light up your throat chakra, and then breathing out and releasing any of the difficulty that you might have with your communication skills, any of the secrets that you're carrying which feel like a crazy burden that's stopping you from being able to express yourself freely. Perhaps there's just too much expression going on. Just ask for that balance. Then breathing in again and breathing out. We're at the third eye chakra. This gorgeous purple light. And this purple light, it may be quite active in some of us, it may not be. It could be a case that we are very psychic and we need to close that channel down, or we are wanting to open up that channel and receive more information or connection. I'm not here to teach you how to do that. I'm just asking you to breathe through it, to ask to release anything that you may be carrying which could be causing you problems or stress. And remember that you need to be relaxed, and anytime your mind wanders, to just bring your mind back to your breath. Now, suddenly you're able to grow. And suddenly you're standing on the earth in the spot that you're in, but the earth is getting smaller and smaller the taller you are, but your feet are still connected. And you grow larger and larger and larger and larger until the earth that you're standing on is a tiny little ball, but you're in space. And you look around you, you can see other planets, but they're very small. They're so far away. You can see the sun, but the sun also is relatively small. It's very far away, but you can still feel its warmth. But as you look around, you can see a source of light and beauty and a sound you've never heard before, but it's truly humbling. And this is the source where we get our knowledge from, our sense of knowing, our intuition. It's our connection. It's our true home. It's our sense of belonging. Now with that, breathe in again, and as you breathe in, that source is going to connect with you through your crown chakra, down through your eye, through the throat, through the heart, through the solar plexus, through the sacral, through the root, down into the ground, into your feet where you're still very much connected to the earth. Breathing in every time you light up, and your aura is completely white every time you take that deep breath, and every single time you notice it just clears up any cracks, any weak spots. And as you look around, you see people that you know and you love who have passed, and they're here to help you to heal yourself. You can ask them for their guidance and their protection every single day while you're here, and know that they're always with you. But now we're going to go back into ourselves, and we're going to move back down, and we're going to shrink ourselves down, and we're still connected and we're coming back to our body, but our energetic field is still that large. So even though we're shrinking back down in our physical body and coming back to earth, our energetic field is that large, that powerful, and that clean, and we are ready to come back and take on anything. And as we shrink back down, still taking breaths in and out, still having that light up effect on our body through all of our power points, there's a sense of refreshment and a sense of being ready to tackle anything that comes to us today. And as you feel yourself come back to your usual size, sitting in the chair, standing wherever you are, or laying wherever you are with your feet firmly on the ground, you can feel your hands tingling. You can feel your body tingling, and as you wiggle your fingers and toes a little bit and bring yourself back into the room, you can open your eyes if you've had them closed, or you can just start to roll your head around and just appreciate the sense of calm that you feel now. Now that's a grounding technique that I use, and I often use that and I've also incorporated a few esoteric banishing rituals, which I haven't done here today on the episode, because I felt like it was going it would go too far, not too far, but it would be, just something that I think maybe for another day. But that's the grounding and protecting that I do with myself. And when I studied as a Reiki master, I did that every single day. And I used to do it before all of my clients when I was doing Reiki. And if I ever forgot to do that, I found myself getting run down and unwell. I had no idea how powerful that practice would be. Something as very simple as that. It literally takes a few minutes. I apologise for the noise in the background. These things are annoying when you can get the background noise, but if you can just zone in rather than listening to the sound around you, but actually just into your body and into experiencing the connection that you have, that protection and that connection and that grounding is vital. And I just think for daily life in general, like I feel so grounded now I've done that. Like I can literally feel almost like my feet are weighted to the ground. And there are many ways to do it, but I guess the way I've done it is kind of an airy way. There are other ways to do it, like I said, going out and walking on the grass and stamping your feet and doing those kind of things. And you can go really deep into it as well. You can tell yourself a story. I think my Reiki master used to say that people would come along with some eggs and they'd have like a pink egg and a gold egg and a silver egg. And every time you ate one of these eggs, it would like, your aura would change colours and it would shimmer with this bright light. And I don't know if anybody ever watched something called the The Spirit Molecule. I read the book what's it called? DMT, The Spirit Molecule. I read the book and then they made a thing and it was on Netflix. It's probably on Gaia TV or something, which I don't have. But I watched the documentary, which is not a patch on the book, guys. Seriously, I would recommend the book if you're really interested. The book's by someone called Dr. Rick Strassman. And basically, they were talking about people going on DMT to these other realms that are coexistent simultaneously alongside our physical realm. And when they experienced love was this golden, almost like a rose gold light. And that, I think, is what my Reiki master was talking about with the eggs and stuff, like this beautiful gold, this rose gold. So you can kind of play with it. And I'm, a bit rusty. I didn't do a dummy run of that. That was literally what I just went in and decided to do. So my apologies if you think I might have made a mistake somewhere or I didn't do it perfectly. As you know, I take my moments where I can to do this podcast, and I'd actually gone to have a little nap with Ewan, and I went and laid down with him for about 20 minutes, and I just couldn't switch my brain off. So I thought, I'm going to go and do the grounding and protecting, connecting ritual, just so you guys have got something to listen to this week. But yeah, I just kind of felt like now was the right time to record it, and it's a valuable practice. It's something that, whether you're working in an area doing Reiki or, seeing clients as an astrologer or a tarot reader, or if you're going to an office job and you have to deal with people that test your patience, or if you work in the perfect job and you're really happy and you love what you do, you can still do this. It's almost like a mindfulness practice as well. And I do really love, in a similar way, sitting down in a chair, taking breaths through my mouth, relaxing my body, trying to relax every single muscle, and just allowing myself to be completely in the moment, and then just focusing on my breath. And every time a thought enters my head and I realise I'm thinking it, just refocusing on the breath. It's just such a great, if you're not good at meditating, my brother-in-law said, I can't meditate. So I literally described him, I talked him through and did the mindfulness practice with him, and I just said, just come back to the breath. And I just reminded him to release and things like that. And his mind was blown. He was like, I didn't know that you could do that. And I was like, yeah, you don't have to be like an expert meditator to meditate. You can just, switch off from everything. And every time you recognise your thoughts returning, just let it go. And focusing on the breath is one of the easiest ways you can do that. It's like the best tip I ever learnt was just focus on the breath. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the, I guess it was a meditation maybe, with the washing machine in the background. It's just something that, I think it's another important lesson I learnt, that it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing, you can meditate anywhere, you can do it anywhere. So that's why washing machine in the background, not ideal. Cars outside, not ideal. I've had hypnotherapy where I've heard cars driving past. I've had hypnotherapy where I've had people shouting outside. I've had hypnotherapy where on the recording I've heard noises, and interestingly you're there wherever you hear that sound. You're kind of in that room. So even if your hypnotherapy that you had was recorded or being conducted from a different location to you, you're almost in that room with them when they do it. And that's kind of how I feel like this recording is going to work for people. So let me know if you enjoyed it. It's definitely something I'm thinking of getting into, is like doing some kind of meditations and some I don't know, work like techniques for people to help them kind of work on either just developing their connection to being relaxed, or developing a connection to being more passive and just allowing the body to regenerate for a moment, because I guess it's almost like a little micro sleep or something, isn't it? So yeah, I guess maybe really I want to dedicate this episode to Sue Merlyn Farebrother, to my tarot teacher, to a beautiful soul, to somebody who taught me that you can be spiritual and still get annoyed with people. She was quite hot-headed, but not nasty. She was a very, very intelligent woman, full of wisdom, the kind of wisdom that I aspire to have, and a sweet, caring person too. A mum to her children, to her sons, and also kind of a guide, a guardian to the people who came and learnt with her. So thank you, Sue. So many memories with you, so many memories, so much wisdom imparted. So yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in, and there's a link below with various links inside it that you can click on if you're interested in having your chart featured on this podcast, which I'm going to get back to doing. If you'd also like to join the mailing list to get notified when I'm going to have some readings available, which is definitely going to be happening soon. It's taking so much longer than I was planning, but it's just because there's just so much to organise. I'm changing my format, and one of the things I'm going to be doing, which I feel is being nudged forward by Sue from the other side, is I am going to be offering a tarot service as well. So anybody interested in having tarot with me or astrology, there's going to be a variety of services available, and it's not going to be long before these are going to be released. I will be sending out a newsletter when that happens, and I just want to say a big thank you to everybody for your support so far. Hi to my patrons, I hope you're all good too. I have a new patron this week as well, so I just wanted to say hello to Jordana. Thank you for joining us on the BFFs. I am changing things up for my patrons as well, actually. I'm thinking about adjusting things over there, and I just want to say how much I appreciate all of your support, every single one of you. It's greatly appreciated, and I'm going to be rejigging the Patreon page as well, so big thank you to you all, huge appreciation. And that, I think, for this week is it. So take care everybody, thank you for tuning in, and next week we'll have something new for you. I'm thinking of going back to Synastry for a couple more episodes before we move on to something new. Bye now.